Hello everyone. I welcome you to our webinar program. And my name is Lee, and I'm the IT at SEAMEO RETRAC Vietnam. SEAMEO RETRAC Vietnam is one of the SEAMEO center in the region. SEAMEO RETRAC hosts a webinar since 2018 in a collaboration with its sister center, SEAMEO Simolek Indonesia. And we are now in our webinar series 2020. And this is our 12th lecture in our webinar series 2020. And our topic for today is problem solving and decision making skill at work. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. Our webinar is a video recording. Please watch and listen to the video. The video takes less than 30 minutes. For your comments and questions while the video is played or after watching the video, please type them in the control panel. I will bring them up to our later. And the video is followed with the question and answer portion. And after this webinar, you complete our assignment, you will get the certificate. And it's free certificate. And now without further ado, I will introduce you to our lecturer. Our lecturer is Dr. Anita Oblina. Dr. Anita obtained a doctorate degree in educational planning and management in the Philippines. She holds the post as senior education specialist at SEAMEO RETRAC for a number of years now. She has been working as curriculum developer, instructional material designer, trainer, researcher, and lecturer. She very passionate to advance the leadership in management skills of the teacher, school leader, administrator, and school official in South Asia region required in the rapid and dynamic change of the learning environment in Asia and beyond. And may I now give the floor to Dr. Anita.
Thank you, Ms. May, for your kind introduction. To all our participants, welcome to our webinar series. I would like to mention again that our topic for today's webinar is problem solving and decision making at work. This is our last lecture for our webinar 2020 series. I am truly happy that you join us in our webinar today. As already mentioned, this is a recorded video, so I invite you to watch and listen to the video, and I will be delighted to hear your questions, insights, opinions, and experience you would like to share with us after watching the video. So, let us now play the video.
We're going to learn 3 key points as follows. How do problem solving and decision making work? How does the decision maker make decisions under certainty environment, uncertainty environment, and risk environment? And how should the decision maker change decision making when uncertainty increases? Let's first review the concept of problem and problem solving and decision making. Problem solving and decision making are 2 key areas in life, whether you're at home or at work, whatever you're doing, and wherever you are faced with countless decisions and problems, both small and large, every day. We look at them closely. Let's start with problem and problem solving. What is problem? Problem is a perceived gap between the existing state and a desired state. What is problem solving? Problem solving is a mental process that involves discovering, analyzing, and solving gaps in order to reach the desired state. What about decision and decision making? What is decision? The decision is taken at the moment the choice is made. A decision is taken from the available options. What is decision making? Decision making is a process and happens over a period of time. It is when the decision is constructed and built. So, decision making precedes decisions being taken. With that in mind, let's proceed to the key point number 1. How do problem solving and decision making work? Basically, problem solving and decision making are both a process to reach the desired state. Problem solving is a method. It is more analytical and complex. Problem solving is a set of activities designed to analyze a situation systematically and generate, implement, and evaluate solutions. On the other hand, decision making will lead to a course of action. It is needed during problem solving to reach the conclusion. Decision making may be defined as the selection of the decision maker of an act considered to be best, according to some pre-designated standard from among several available options. Decision making is part of problem solving, and decision making occurs at every step of the problem solving process. How does the decision maker make decisions under certainty environment, uncertainty environment, and risk environment? Let us first talk about the types of decision-making environment. There are 3 types of decision-making environment: decision-making under certainty environment, decision-making under uncertainty environment, and decision-making under risk environment. Let us describe each closely. What is certainty environment? It is a condition that exists when the decision maker knows with reasonable certainty what the alternatives are, what conditions are associated with each alternative, and the outcome of each alternative. Under conditions of certainty, accurate, measurable, and reliable information on which to base decisions is available. Examples of decision-making under certainty environment are purchasing materials, equipment, supplies, and others. The need to meet customer, contract, or regulatory requirements, and the pay recess, promotions, vacation requests, committee assignments, and others. How does the decision maker make decisions under certainty environment? The decision maker knows with certainty the consequences of every alternative or decision choice. When the decision maker faced with certainty in outcomes, the strategy is fairly simple: comply. Proactive managers can plan processes for handling these complaints effectively before the event occurs. What is uncertainty environment? The conditions of uncertainty exist when the future environment is unpredictable and everything is in a state of flux. The decision maker is not aware of all available alternatives, the risk associated with each, and the consequences of each alternative or their probabilities. Under conditions of uncertainty, little is known about the alternative or their outcomes. Uncertainty arises from two possible sources. First, decision makers may face external conditions that are partially or entirely beyond their control. Second, and equally important, the decision makers may not have access to key information. Example of uncertainty environment: the school proprietor buys a school which is no longer gaining. When he makes the decision, he is uncertain about the profits that he will obtain. He does not know which comes in the future. This will depend on branding and marketing of the school. How does the decision maker make decisions under uncertainty environment? In the face of uncertainty, the decision makers need to make certain assumptions about the situation in order to provide a reasonable framework for decision making. They have to depend upon their judgment and experience for making decisions. What is risk environment? Risk occurs when the decision makers lack substantial information and cannot predict an alternative's outcome with certainty, but they have enough information to predict the probability it will lead to the desired state. Under a state of risk, the decision maker has incomplete information about available alternatives, but has good idea of the probability of outcomes for each alternative. How does the decision maker make decisions under risk environment? The decision maker has some knowledge regarding probability of occurrence of each outcome or state of nature. While making decisions under a state of risk, decision makers must determine the probability associated with each alternative on the basis of the available information and their experience. What is the impact of risk and uncertainty? Lower risk and uncertainty are preferable situations if the management of a firm fails to think about risk and uncertainty. It may end in quandary. As risk and uncertainty increases, some strategic choices become more valuable than others. At high levels of risk and uncertainty, the best strategic choices are those that boost an organization's flexibility and sustain open options. There is one strategy that helps, whether it is uncertainty, risk, or somewhere in between. There is one strategy that always improves the manager's ability to make sound management decisions, and that is information. The more information the managers have on the potential uncertainties and risk that they face, then the more they can establish probabilities or likely outcomes, evaluate the impact, and evaluate the risk management strategies accordingly. Let us proceed to the last key point of this webinar. How should the decision maker change decision making when uncertainty increases? I would like to share with you 6 tips to do when uncertainty increases. First, reduce the time horizon for decisions. Build a bridge to the future by taking smaller steps, keeping something familiar and secure with each step. Second, avoid unneeded risk. One environment is providing lots of uncertainty, different risks that are in your control. For example, when there is economic uncertainty, postpone taking on debt for spending holidays. Third, take one risk at a time when feasible. Combining risks from multiple decisions, choosing to get married and change jobs at the same time, can create confusion, increase stress, and make it difficult to learn from unsuccessful outcomes. Fourth, know your goals and values. The underlying premise of effective decision making is that the decision makers know their needs and desires. Risk becomes unbounded when this is not the case. Fifth, invest in keeping options open. Having a wide range of options increases flexibility to accommodate an uncertain future. Options can be reduced as knowledge is obtained. And sixth, manage decisions adaptively. Increase monitoring and appraisal for decision making in uncertainty. Those are the 6 tips to do when uncertainty increases. We have just finished our webinar on problem solving and decision making at work. We have learned the following key points: how problem solving and decision making work in order to reach the desired state, the different types of decision making environment, such as decision making under certainty environment, uncertainty environment, and risk environment, and tips on decision making when uncertainty increases. I hope you find our webinar useful. Thank you for joining us today.
We have just finished watching the video. We will go ahead to our question and answer.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. So just a reminder, please type your question in the chat box or Q&A box. So I will read it to Dr. Anita.
Hello, everyone. morning. More. I will see. Oh. Hmm.
Oh, I,
Hi.
I
Yes.
got one question. The question is it possible to solve a problem without making a decision or make a decision without solving a problem?
Hmm. I cannot get that much. Um. Again. Again.
Is it
It seems.
possible?
It seems. The sound is that good.
Yes,
Maybe you can forward.
I will forward to you.
Yeah. Some of you just maybe write your questions. Yes, you may. Just write your question. Uh. Noor.
Yes, I just send it to you.
Oh. Okay. Here it is. So the question is it possible to solve a problem without making a decision or make a decision without solving a problem? A very interesting question. Uh, when? Mm, I, if you ask my opinion about it, problem solving and decision making come together, I would say, because uh, any problem that we encounter, be it like simple problem, ordinary problem, because we can classify the kind of problems we have. You have just a day-to-day problem, like for example, what kind of clothes I will wear, what will I eat in the morning, will I go to sleep now or later? We are encountering different types of like problems, simple, trivial, as well as big problems, huge problems. I guess all these problems really need decision. Like if I am confused on what to wear in the morning, going to work, I have to decide from my options. If I'm not wearing my uniform, then which option will I choose? What kind of dress will I wear? So problem solving and decision making come together because I cannot decide without solving a problem. Both will always come together. It's a process. But as I said earlier, the process that will take depends on the kind of problems. There is just that one thing that comes to our mind and we can just find solution to it right away. But still, it is kind of a problem because it catches our attention and it requires focus until we satisfy of the solution that we made, which is now the decision. Okay, I hope I have answered your question, Mi Huen. Mhm. It seems we have no other question
At the moment, we don't have any questions. Let's move on.
so far. Okay, maybe I will, since we are still waiting for other questions that might come soon, I would like to reiterate the idea of problem solving, decision, and decision making. Um, I think the sad thing that really happens, when we are faced with seemingly a problem is that we could hardly identify what is really the problem. I mean, the issues behind the problem. Some of us would say, my problem is I am late to report to the office. Now, the question is being late a problem, really? I guess being late to report to office is the result of the problem. It's not the problem. It is the result of the problem. So then we ask the question, why am I late to report to my office? You begin now to dig the issue, the cause of the problem, the source. You are now beginning to identify the real problem and see if the answer is, because I sleep late last night or every night. Okay, is being able to sleep late at night is the problem? It might not be a problem. It will be a result of something else. So you ask again the question like, why I was late sleeping last night, for example. And then you might then go to the source of the problem and identify the issue. It is because I was maybe reading a book or watching a movie. That's why I was not able to sleep early. And I wake up late in the morning. So I was late to report to my work. So the issue now, the problem is you did not sleep well early because you were watching a movie. So that's now the issue. That's the key. That's the source. So we see we're able to identify what is really the source of the problem. What is the issue? Because the problems that we identify in the process may not really be the source. It be the effects or the results of that issue, the source, which is now the problem that you are going to heal. That is now then that you will get a solution to that. What is now your solution? So you may say, I have my time management now. I should limit myself from watching movie late at night so I can rest well and I can wake up early and I can report to my work early or on time. Okay. So I'm just sharing with you then that the process, of identifying the real issue, the real problem, and that is very, very important in problem solving. And so that in the process also of going to the, identifying the issues from the results to other results and to the other until we finally identify the key issue, we are at the same time making small decisions. And finally we make decisions. The solution now is a decision that we have made from the different options. Okay. So we have now another question, right? This is from Noor Lubis. Thank you for this one. I am a teacher in junior high school. How will we make a decision if the headmaster has different decision with us? We know exactly that her decision is not good enough for the development of our school. We will just pretend to accept her decision. That's really quite interesting and a challenging question, because now we are trying to look into, behind the the decision, that the headmaster is, doing or having. Now, in that scenario, I would say if I were a teacher and I had this headmaster making decision for me, and we see that this is not really good enough because we are in the front line. I am in the front line, and I know what works well. And here is my headmaster making a decision for us. Truly, in that sense, in that scenario, I would I would present myself and I will present myself maybe in a nice way, in a very professional way. Okay, look at present your case and then uh, present your case in the manner that the headmaster will understand. You know, give her the environment, the scenario, the context. Maybe the headmaster is not aware what's really happening down there. And so let her know and then let her have your options. This is your option. And that was her option, her decision. Okay, it's already her decision, but this is yours. This is my thinking. And maybe if the headmaster will be able to understand pretty well your context, she might listen to you and consider your judgment as right. I would suggest that it would not be good for me if I see that I have this good idea because I am pretty aware of what's happening in my context, then I would not be feeling good if I would just follow the decision of my headmaster because she is a headmaster. That does not do good. As I said earlier, maybe the headmaster does not know the real context. Show her the context and your judgment. I'm pretty sure she will listen to that once she understands. In my presentation, I really uh, emphasize that information is very important in decision making. Many of us fail to give good decision, right decision, or maybe better decision because of lack of information. In that case, if the headmaster knows well your context and still insists of having her own decision, and then you just abide of it. Uh, that's another thing. I'm pretty sure your headmaster understand the case and would adjust because I could not just follow the decision when I believe that this does not work in my environment. This does not work in my context because we are all looking forward for the good of our students, for the good of our teaching and the learning of our students, for the benefit of our students, as well as our benefit. We give the best of us to our students. Okay. Thank you for that question. I hope I have given you my idea. Okay, there's another one. Good morning, everyone. Ah, thank you so much, uh, Adnan. Oh, but by the way, if you would like to ask your question using your microphone, I guess you can do that.
It looks like we have one more question. Sometimes we make decisions that are not good for the other team, but for the organization it is good. How do we maintain relationship to that team?
Very, very good question. Uh-huh. Sometimes interesting question. Thank you for this one. This from Sunny.
It's from Daliana Agostino.
Okay. So again, I would like to read the question. Sometimes we make decisions that are not good for the other team. Yeah, but for the organization, it is good. How do we maintain relationships to the team? Very interesting question. Now, you're right. You're right. Um, sometimes uh, our decisions really kind of hmm, our decisions do not jive with the team. Right? Because uh, it may be quite, like our team does not just like the way things, the way we introduce or we participate or we make decisions. I really understand that situation. See, because we are there for the organization or for the school, and we would like to improve the school, we would like to develop the school, but in the process, maybe we kind of the others or others don't like our decision. But the point here is that we are quite sensitive for the team, that the team might not be getting happy with us, and that might also be uh, con- creating gap in our relationship with the team. But I guess to maintain relationships to the team is, being good with them. I mean, uh, surely the team will understand that later. Maybe at the moment they won't understand your stand, but eventually they will get what you're trying what you're trying to say, what is your intention, like, for bringing that decision for the good of the organization. I guess one thing to do in that scenario is that be good to them. What I mean is be open and reach out the team. By reaching out is talk to the team. Let them understand your point. Your intention is for the good of the organization, and that is a noble, intention. So eventually they will understand you. Now the problem with us is that when we feel that the team is trying to distance from us, then we also try to create that gap. In that scenario, I guess, um, that would not help. Instead, do the reverse. Reach out your team and talk to them. Mm. Explain. Let them understand. You may not be able to gather them as one team, as one group, but you can approach individually, and be nice and state your purpose. And I guess in the process, they will be able to understand. And if ever they won't understand you and really they insist their minds and they don't accept, you cannot do anything anymore, and just leave it as it. You know, uh, I always believe that time heals. Along the way, they come to think and they realize, and relationship is back. And the point there is that you try your best to reach out to your team and you try to explain your stand, and that's it. If they insist, then be it in a while, and it will come sometime in the future. They realize. Okay? I hope I have answered your question. You have another question, me? Yeah. Okay, so far we have no questions now. Mhm. Hello, me. Sunny,
Yes.
it seems we have no questions, right?
Yeah, we have no more question, I think. I
Yes.
think your explanation is clear enough, very clear and very helpful.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, mhm, I think the participants are good problem solvers and decision makers.
Yeah,
Yeah, because this is really the topic is quite simple, maybe, and um, yeah, we are using this every day,
yeah.
and
The topic is very simple actually, but the situation make it complex.
yeah, true. Especially when we are making like big decisions, huge decisions,
Yes,
major decisions. Yeah,
exactly.
that requires really the steps, problem solving
Mhm.
steps. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes we just don't we are not what should I say um the I don't know what should I say. Maybe I will tell you later.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, our dear participants, do we have no questions now? As I said earlier, maybe you can use your phone if you would like, your microphone, like to ask questions directly. Now, sometimes it will take time really to write, and we don't like to write, and we can speak it out right away. So you can do it. Okay? Me.
It looks like we covered all of our questions, Dr. Anita. Oh, I got one more question for you. May I ask something, madam? How we can be a good leader, especially to make a quick decision for our employees?
Mm.
The question from Fijian, how we can be a good leader, especially to make a quick decision for our employees.
Oh, seems that the sound is really, the sound is not good. I could not hear it clearly. Maybe you can type it for me.
Yes, I can send it to you.
Okay, thank you so much. May I ask something, ma'am? How can we be a good leader, especially to make a good decision for our employee? Wow, interesting question. Okay, I understand this question because um, when we are leaders, we are making decisions, really big decisions, not just small decisions, but we are making very big decisions as well. And how can I be a good leader, especially to make a great decision for our employees? Okay, this is another thing that I would like to share with you. When we are making decisions, we are really getting all the relevant information before we are able to make decision. But think of this: there are decisions or there are problems that only leaders can can make and can decide. There are also problems that employees and staff are very important part in the problem solving process to be able to make good decisions. Now, as a leader, you will be able to classify and to identify the kind of problems that you are making decisions. So, for me, for example, I could be a good leader in making decisions to my employees when I am able to classify or to identify the kind of decisions and the kind of problems and decisions that I will be making. If this problem and this or this decision is really concerning me as a leader, maybe I need to decide this myself after gathering the necessary information and sorting out this information and then make a decision. And then there's another case then, if these problems and decisions that will be made require my staff and employees to be able to make good decisions, to be implemented for the good of the school, for the good of the organization, then I will include my employees and staff in the process. Then I guess by that, then I am performing a good, you know, decision. Maybe I am a good leader. No. So leadership here does not just mean that I will decide all myself for my employees. My employees and staff are part so that they own the decision. Because after all, they are the ones implementing it. If that be for the school improvement, for the students, for the learning of the students, the leader is not the one implementing it. It's the staff, it's the employee. The leader will guide, the leader will set the vision, you know, and set the activity, plan and all. Let the employees be part in the process. Okay. Back to the idea of making great decisions for my employees. I guess I can only make great decisions or good decisions for employees when I have really a sufficient information. I do research, I gather data, and I allow my staff to be part in the process of decision making, especially if this concern the school, the students, the staff, and the community. It's not my personal concern. That is then that I guess great decision is made. It is a shared decision. So there is this shared ownership. Whether it will succeed or not, my employees won't blame each of them or won't blame me as a leader because they're part of the process. Okay, I hope I have answered your question. Uh, is there another one, right?
We have another is how to solve the problem when our employee have so much problem and be professional team.
Oh, how to solve the problem when our employees have so much problems?
Yeah. And be professional good team.
And
Professional team.
mhm. Oh, again, in that scenario, to solve the problem, and then our employees have their own problems. We have to identify, we have to classify again the problems, and we have to prioritize the problems. If our employees have their own problems, are that personal problems, are that family problems, or are those problems related to school, to students? So identify the problems. But then it depends now on the the urgency of the problems. We look at also the priority and the urgency of the problems. Which problems are more urgent to be addressed first? Then go to that one. Because if we just faced with so many problems and we don't sort out these problems and classify these problems, then we are overwhelmed. We don't know what to do. So this is the school problems, and these are the problems of my employees. Which one would be more, urgent? If it is the problem of my family is between life and death, and that is really the problem that has to be addressed first. But see the need of the school, especially now that we are on, like most of the schools are using online or remote learning. There is this big problem that occurs in the school, and so we focus on this one. If this affects our students, for example, so you have to prioritize and see which one comes first, and then address that. That's how we do in problem identification and problem solving. Okay, so I hope I have answered that question. Okay, there is a question here that uh, is given. This is a um, what is that one? Uh, and be professional, good deal. Okay, okay, there is this one. This is from. Okay, I know. Lady. Good morning, Miss Anita. It seems that you have interest about interpersonal communication skills. I wonder, why do you choose such topic? Interpersonal communication skills. That was the topic that we had last time. I mean, our lecture 11 is about interpersonal communication skills. And your question here is why I'm interested of that and why did I choose that? Why did I included that in the webinar? I guess that's the question that you would like to ask me. Um, yeah, I would like to answer you this question. Now, interpersonal communication skills for me really uh, is a very important, um, especially at work. It is even important wherever we are, not only at work, wherever we are, we need to connect. We need to relate to people, um, whether we are at home, we are in the party, we are in the office, or wherever we are, and the more when we are really in our workplace. I choose the topic because I know that um, in the workplace there are problems of relationships. Uh, Staff or employees are not talking to each other uh, for one reason or the other. There are those who are trying to dominate in the workplace. I mean, really, like want to be more, to be having more attention, and sometimes, people in the workplace don't like, you know, there are those people who are offending us, and there are also good people in the workplace. And I guess my intention is that hopefully that webinar, that topic would help us able to understand ourselves and able to relate well with others. Because interpersonal skills are people skills. This is now where we understand, we empathize, we like connect to people in a manner that we would like them to connect us also. through our verbal communication, non-verbal communication, like our gestures and other things. And of course, our listening skills, we are trying to understand and our empathy where they are at. That hopefully uh, we are making or building a good relationship at work. So that was why I uh, included the topic on interpersonal communication skills. Okay, I hope I have shared my
And
ideas
we
with
have
that.
one question. How to make a good decision when time is short?
Mhm. The question is
How to make a good decision when time is short?
how to make a group decision when time is
Yeah.
short. Oh, that's a really interesting question. Um, now it depends on what kind of problem is that one again, because there are problems or there are because again when we speak of decision, we are facing with problems or issues. That depends on the issue that is at hand. If the issue is quite complicated and really it will take much time to decide, and then your time limit is that short, I wonder if you could make a good decision, with that very limited time. But if the issue is really, the scope of the issue is manageable, then you can do that. But going back to the process, I guess you're asking of the process of how to make good decision with a limited short of time. One thing that I would suggest is that there must be an open, like open minds, open communication. Let the people in the group free to share their ideas, and each idea or insights will also be considered and put together. And there must be a kind of what is that assignment? You do this one, I do this. There is this um what is that? I would say division of work. You assign the task so that it will be easy. If you're a leader of that group, making decision, you assign the task. Okay, you are the note taker, and you will present this one, and you will be the facilitator, and I will do the discussion. I mean, you will facilitate, and I will do the writing, and this one. There must be an assignment of each team. I mean, of each member in the team, and then go ahead. You should have this process, like identify the problem, and then what is the issue at hand, and then what are the ideas, brainstorm, and basically what is the purpose of that decision that you are doing, that you are making. So, uh, what is important then, if the time is so limited, is you must have in mind the steps on how to do it. So everything must be in place, and then you can proceed. But again, as I said, it depends on the issue at hand. If the issue is quite complicated, you need more time to do that. I don't suggest you make a harsh decision if the effects of that decision really is is not that good. You know, if you would like to make good decision, time element is very important. Why? Because you need more information to be able to make good decision. Okay.
Yep.
So,
We have another one. In our school, the teachers are not unified. There is a Zen talk group, and I am as a vice headmaster. How will I solve this problem? The Zen is hotter and hotter every day.
oh, mm. So, uh, I couldn't get that well. I'm sorry, I cannot get that well. Maybe you can send me that question. Okay, Sissy one. Okay, there is this question, I guess. Sister one me. What I would like to tell you previously is when is this one? Ah, okay. Okay, I get your question. Yeah. But can I answer the first question that is also I mean the previous question that is yeah, maybe I can have this one. This is a follow-up question, right? Okay, I'd like to answer the follow-up question. I mean to see the follow-up question. Okay, thank you for this one. What I would like to tell you previously is when we took a decision, the challenge is sometimes we really cannot predict the risk or consequences behind. Sometimes something can turn very different from what we predicted. Right. I really agree to this one. Uh-huh. Yes, thank you so much for this follow-up statement. And I agree with you that when we make decision, we thought that this is this is the good decision that we had made, but then we just didn't realize that there are consequences that we have not expected to happen, and that is part of our decision making. And basically, when we make decision, it's not actually perfect decision. There are always consequences. Only the saddest thing is that sometimes we did not anticipate the consequences, and we are caught unaware when it happened. But I guess that's a lesson learned at the same time, so that by next time we should be very, very extra careful to look at different angles of the decision that we are making, the consequences of that decision. I guess in my presentation, I have shared with you the different types of decision making environment. We have the certainty environment, uncertainty environment, and the risk environment. And I guess when we make decision, we look into these different types of decision making environment and the consequences. But that's it. We cannot. We cannot really predict, and we cannot tell in advance. So we have in mind that the intention, we have is really good, but we just don't anticipate that much. The consequences seem not favorable, but that is part of decision making, and we learn from it. Every day we make decisions, and we learn from the decisions we are making. Much more when the decision is quite a big decision already. Okay, thank you so much for that follow-up statement. I understand.
Yep, the next one is, don't you think that problem solving and decision making skills are also part of interpersonal skills that need for us?
Certainly, yes. Thank you so much. I agree, yes. The problem solving, decision making, they are part of interpersonal skills. Once we are good at it, we are good at people. Yeah. Thank you so much. Mhm. And these are skills that we need because when we speak again, back to the idea of interpersonal skills are already embracing the different soft skills. We cannot be we cannot be good at people if we don't have other soft skills. And of course, problem solving and decision making skills are very important in people skills. Yeah. So there is another question, me. Is this the what? In our school,
Yep, that's the question.
yeah. In our school, the teachers are not unity or are not united. There is gang, part, or group. Oh, really? I am a vice headmaster. How will I solve this problem? The gang is hotter and hotter every day. Oh, Now, I am really, I am kind of disturbed of this idea that there is a division in your school. And what is disturbing here is that it gets hotter, it gets bad, I would say, every day. That's quite alarming. You know. Um, I was once in the university, and basically also I was once in a department in the program. I was an associate um, chairperson in the program. That was Department of English, Language and Literature. And this, like division of teachers you are talking here, is not new to me. This happens in every organization, I guess. But what is quite alarming to me when you said it is hotter and hotter every day, that's quite alarming. And you're asking then, how would you be able to help solve this problem? I wonder in your school if you have like a professional learning community or a kind of a professional organization in your school where you can meet the teacher and you can have a conversation with the teacher as one community. Now, I see the point here that there is this one group, another group. There are silos, I would say, different silos. Um, it happens in my school, in my university before. You know what we did? I'd like to share with you what we did when we had this problem. We had uh, kind of a retreat. First, we have socialization. Like we go out as one program. We went to the beach, so a beach party. And when we were there, we have these like activities. One of the activities that we had, aside from the games, uh, we had a session or like a reconciliation session. We really invited, a speaker, a trainer, a facilitator, and she was really very good and she's expert to have to help us, facilitate reconciliation of the group. And I would say that was good, really, because it worked. And so we opened up. We were grouped accordingly. And so there is this grouping and then sharing of ideas, sharing of experiences with the facilitator around, and the main facilitator, because there is a facilitator for each group. And that really works. I mean, for us, it works because there was this realization, there was this reconnection after that. That was a kind of awakening, that we just opened ourselves to reality that we are different. We have our own differences, we have our own backgrounds, we have our own cultures, that our family cultures, of our peer cultures, and then mm, we share as a group and then as one community, and we ended up really crying and making some resolutions. But it did not end up there. When we were back to our school, we really had a follow up. We make some follow ups to the program we started in the beach, and finally, not really, eventually, we were able to come together. Well, of course, there are always conflicts, that cannot be denied because we are human beings, we're alive, and there are differences. But it was not as bad as the time before we were having our reconciliation, you know. That was really good. And then we did not just allow it to fade, but we nurture it. We didn't have, then we create this culture of coaching and mentoring. And it goes well. That's how we did. And I don't know if that would also be good in your context, but What I am trying to tell here is that there is a possibility of reconnecting again and reconciling despite differences. Yeah. Because we have one mission in the school. I guess what's important then there is to be able to remind each employee that we come together in the school with one vision, with one mission, and we have goals to achieve together. We need unity because in unity there is strength and there is power, and we will be able to achieve our mission, vision, goals successfully. So it depends now on the facilitator. There must be a plan. We cannot just allow it to happen. It will die out relationship, and that is not good. We want each one, each staff, each employee to be happy, working together, reasonably happy. So there is this feeling of acceptance, feeling of oneness, despite differences and diversity. Okay, I hope I have answered, giving you my share. Thank you for that question.
And I think that's all our
Yes.
questions. Yeah. So is there anything else you would like to cover before our wrap up?
Mm-hmm. I think we have covered all this time. And I would like to thank our participants for being with us until today. As I said, this is the last day of our webinar 2020, and I'm so happy that you come a long way. And for our new participants, so happy that you joined us today. Thank you so much. And you're invited to our webinar 2021 series next year. It will be announced through our sister center, Simulate. Thank you so much, my dear participants, for joining us today.
And thank all participants and the co-host team. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Anita and Miss Me. And for all participants, please don't leave soon because I will inform you about the assignment. You can check our assignment by check a screenshot from this preview screen. Wait a minute. Okay, after this session, you can submit your assignment by checking the following informations. Yeah, you can check the registration link and find out the information about the assignment on the tab of news and updates. The assignment will be posted after the session and the deadline is no longer than December 24. And the result of the assignment will be posted on the news and updates tab as well. Thank you very much for joining us and see you again next year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you, Dr. Anita and Miss Me. See you soon.
See you.